Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a good one. But before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, OnPay. Without them, we couldn't be sharing these stories. Today on Atlanta Business Radio, we have Susan Tynan with Framebridge. Welcome, Susan.
Thanks for having me.
Well, before we get too far into things, tell us about Framebridge. How are you serving folks?
Yes. So Framebridge is a easy, modern way to custom picture frame. So we've been online for about 7 years now, and then we began opening retail stores last year, and now we have 2 new stores in Atlanta.
Now, what was kind of the impetus to have brick and mortar stores?
So certainly the genesis of the business was to make custom framing easy, accessible, fun, so that people would do it more often. So the easiest way to do that at first was online. But we heard from customers that they had one question. You know, there was just something they wanted to talk to a designer about, or there was they were debating between 2 frame styles and just wish they could see them in person. And so we felt we could deliver the same easy, positive, unintimidating experience in person, and we could probably add a little inspiration too through what you could see on the walls. So we decided to give retail a try. But really, I think probably the biggest push for us was when we noticed customers were stopping by our corporate office with art in their hands. Just truly, they wanted to talk to somebody. So we thought, so we knew there was an idea there. So we started stores first last year in our headquarters hometown of Washington, D.C. And so Atlanta is just our 3rd market. And
is this owner operated through Framebridge, or is this franchise?
Yes, it is. What we do is really special for people. They are trusting us with things that matter to them, whether it's, from a diploma or wedding photos, travel art. We feel like we have to control the experience. And that is not only our business model is doing all the manufacturing ourselves, but also the way in which we deliver a really high quality customer experience is by owning it entirely.
And then you feel like you have better control when it's kind of all under the corporate umbrella?
Yeah, we have better control, and we also learn from our team. It's a feedback loop that I think is really important at this stage of our company. So our team tells us, what customers are saying and what they want, and so I think it was essential for us to control it all.
Now, in your career, you started out in consulting and have worked in a variety of roles, but now as a founder, how has that kind of background helped you lead Framebridge?
Yes. So, well, it's not very old. It is old for being a founder of a startup. I was in my late 30s when I started Framebridge. And so I felt very grateful having had a range of work experiences in both big companies and then a number of small startups. So I at least knew what things should look like at certain stages. And I think most importantly, I knew a lot of people, and I found people to be so generous in terms of, willing to think through an idea or offer feedback at really every stage of the company. So I would say certainly the network of friends and former colleagues from my earlier career has been very helpful. But nothing can prepare you for being a founder because it is it's intense. And as certainly all business owners and leaders experienced this year, there are surprises. So even when you think things are humming along well, anything can happen.
Now, does that, when you think back about early in your career at the consulting firm and you were going in and talking to entrepreneurs and business leaders, are you seeing things differently now that you're in that seat as the
Absolutely. In fact, even later in my career, when I had worked for other people's startups, I thought, well, this is the startup experience. And while moving quickly and some of the informality is consistent, there is nothing like the pressure of doing it yourself. It gave me a lot of respect for people I had worked for previously and what was on their shoulders.
Now, what advice do you have for consultants who are consulting with entrepreneurs and business leaders? Now your empathy should be a little different now, right?
Totally. You have to just really think through the realities of implementing things. Everything is, a lot of things make sense in a PowerPoint deck that maybe need some adjustments in real life.
Now, when you're leading Framebridge and you decided to go kind of this brick and mortar, what was how was that decision made? Because that's a big shift in terms of just logistics and delivery of service and things like that. So, and it's kind of going at your heart of your business. So, can you talk about how that decision was made and some of the pros and cons you weighed before taking the plunge?
It was a big shift. So, there are definitely a few pieces we had to work through there. Not the least of which was, we had investors who were used to technology businesses. And so sort of a surprise to say to them, I'd like to open up some stores. But we had the customer insights that we felt pretty clear about. And we also have centralized manufacturing. So today we do our manufacturing in 2 facilities in Lexington, Kentucky. And, but that centralized manufacturing has allowed us to offer high quality, truly custom framing at a lower price than had been traditionally offered. And so we believed we could still do that with small footprint retail stores, which we do. So it's our own transportation, bringing our back and forth. So we're able to keep all of the business model consistent in a store. And then importantly, we looked at stores through 2 ways. One, they're a billboard. Certainly they're marketing for our business, whether or not you go to framebridge.com or you come into a store. You may become aware of Framebridge through a store. And I think it gives us credibility. I think our stores are beautiful. So you understand you're going to get, a pretty finished product from us. But then we also knew that because the store itself did not have to be big, that the economics of the store could work. So the store could be profitable, but more importantly, the store could do even more than that, in that it could introduce people to Framebridge as a concept.
And then from a customer standpoint, is this now I can go into a Framebridge with something and this is a do it for me experience, or is this a do it myself experience?
Yes, no, we do it for you. So really, the insight that started the whole business for me was that custom framing was intimidating. I had 4 national parks posters that I brought to a frame store, and I felt the consultation felt like upselling and felt uncomfortable. And I was asked a lot of questions I didn't know the answer to. So it didn't give me confidence, and it was really expensive, and it made me just not want to do it again. And so we really designed the experience to be the opposite. You come in, we're the experts, but we don't want you to be intimidated. You come in with your art. You can tell just based on the size of your art, how much it'll cost to get framed. So there are no surprises. Our team, can help you choose a frame style in minutes. If you want to, stay for a longer consultation, that's fine, but you really can get in and out quickly. You leave your art with us and we either ship it to you framed home, or you can come back to the store to pick it up. Either way.
And then this isn't kind of relegated to just flat like paper or artwork. It could be 3-dimensional as well. Like, because how about if I have some collectibles and I want to, create this special, unique kind of, it's almost a piece of art by itself.
Yes. So that's been a really interesting part of our business, both in terms of just sort of the fun of being in the business and the fun of seeing what people framed and being inspired by our customers. But then also, you know, in the potential market size of the business, it is really not just art prints or photos. It's just anything people think of, really a lot of mementos. So it's things like matchbook covers, you know, the most special things like, you know, we framed a cocktail napkin that had someone's phone number on it and the couple had eventually gotten married. So it's really these really neat artifacts of people's lives, certainly lots of sports memorabilia, but a lot of things from travel. In fact, I was looking through to see if I could notice any trends from our Atlanta customers. And I would say that we saw a lot of beautiful sketches and watercolors of people's homes. I think people are feeling grateful for their homes during this time when people have been traveling a little less.
Yeah, and I would think that, like you said, that these mementos, Atlanta is most people aren't from Atlanta. They're from somewhere else. And I know a lot of people are trying to keep those memories of their past lives alive. And what better way than to put together like a shadow box or some sort of framed memento of different experiences they had at their previous locale.
That's exactly right. We, you know, everybody has to believe their work is really important, but we do because we want people to surround themselves with things that mean something to them, that remind them of what they're proud of or what they should be celebrating or what they should do more of, frankly. So we see a lot of special things. I mean, we see things like, you know, a banana bread recipe in handwriting that was probably someone's grandma's. We see, you know, just obviously like, you know, old movie posters and concert posters and things like that. But it's really just it's an amazing range. Recently, we framed a segment of someone's wall that had been the children's growth chart. So they had like knocked out the part of the wall that was the growth chart and you know, wanted to preserve it, which is really nice. Right.
Like I live in an older house that's from the 1950s. And in one room, we found that for the people who lived here before, you know, so you see all the little hash marks. And like, you know, if your service was available then, that might have been something that they would have wanted to keep, you know, take with them when they left.
Yeah. We actually recently started offering these little story pockets where you can print up, you know, the story behind what you're framing on the back of your frame, because we've just had so much fun. It's like just pulling a thread, right? When you ask a customer, you know, tell me about this piece, you get just the most amazing, you know, either family history or, you know, or really just a lot of it is about commemoration. Just something, you know, people wanted to make sure they didn't forget about.
Right. Now, have you been able to kind of create a sense of community amongst the Framebridge customers where that they do share that with the whole Framebridge community and maybe use that forum to brainstorm ideas on ways that they can just do more of that or share, you know, kind of best practices on, hey, consider doing this, or like that idea with the growth chart. I mean, everybody has that memory. I mean, a lot of people do. And to even consider doing that, you know, that gets you thinking about other things that maybe you wouldn't have thought that was something frameable.
Absolutely. Our customers are great about when we ask them about sharing their story and allowing us to share their story for inspiration. And truly, when I talk to someone and they say, "Oh, I don't have anything to be framed," I'm always like, "You definitely do." But one thing that's been positive, I guess, about this time with people stuck in their homes more, or people really do have the time to dig through old things, old memory boxes and the photos on their phone to find things to frame.
Yeah, I guess it's a double-edged sword with the phones, because I know when my kid's 22 now, or 23, when he was little, we used to take pictures and then actually get them developed, and there was a million photos of him. And then so we used to frame a million things. But then as digital cameras and phones and stuff became prevalent, nothing got free. Like you can almost see the date of when that ended, of when everybody was having phones and you were sharing it through social media platforms rather than paper.
Yes. It's interesting because I remember people asking me, did I think framing would go away because of, there are digital frames. And I think that's a cool product, but it's such a different product. The point of framing something is to say, is to choose the one that was particularly meaningful and say you want to preserve it. And so it's a very different thing than just wanting to keep up to date on a lot of things going on. It's about, choosing the one thing that sort of speaks for the whole moment.
Right. And elevating that.
Yes.
Now, how do you kind of help your customer want to elevate more things?
Yeah, well, that's the trick of our business, right? So the first way we did it is by taking any of the burden out of the experience. So that has been, I can't say my life's work. I can say because it's 7 years. My 7 years work has been, how do we make this easier for people? And so that is really our focus. And so that is removing any friction. That's part of the reasons we're doing stores. If the online experience, I think is pretty darn easy if you upload a photo or we even mail you packaging to mail us your art. But if there's any friction in that for you and you'd rather come into a store, then come into the store. And how do we make the store really easy and positive? And how do we make the pricing understandable and affordable? And so the first way we motivate people to frame more things is by coming to them, by making the whole experience a lot easier and friction-free. The second way, I think, is exactly what you said, is how do we, really show people the range of things we can frame and they should be framing, and make sure that they see that inspiration. The other piece of our business that is really meaningful, and certainly my entire focus now that we're in October, is gifting. So we also, because we ship straight to your door, it's easy to gift. And again, we're noticing this year more than ever, people being really sentimental and thoughtful. And so, we do want to encourage people to commemorate other people's moments too.
So now what is that kind of a gift experience? Like, how do I give someone the gift of Framebridge? Is it like, what does that look like? Are they getting something physical that says, hey, you can turn this in and you can then have something framed? Like how?
Yeah, of course we do a good gift card business because people know that, someone just got married or just moved, that they may have framing needs. And so it's a good gift. But no, we see a lot of people frame photos. If you think of it, someone gets their wedding photos back and there's just like one terrific photo of a different couple at the wedding. And then they gift that photo framed to the couple. Or, certainly at the holidays, it's a lot of family gifting. The new baby gets framed and goes to both sets of grandparents. And we always see the both sets of families, which is really sweet. We see like duplicate orders like that during the holidays. Then there's a lot of also nostalgic and romantic things in terms of, this is the menu from the restaurant we went to together. Things like that. And so people gift those sentimental things directly to the gift recipient. And always, I tell the Framebridge team when we gear up for the peak season, which it is it's a very intense period for our business. And so as we're getting ready for it, I always tell the team, this is going to be the most special gift under the tree. People are going to, even if, the kid, got an iPad, this one is going to be the one that they're supposed to tear up for. So we have a responsibility to deliver not only a high quality end product, but on time for customers, because this is the one they were really looking forward to giving. So we do feel the stakes, we do feel the high stakes during the holiday season.
Right, because this is the gift that's going to be on the wall that could be on the wall for decades.
Yeah. And this is when people are just proud they're giving because has meaning behind it.
Right.
But we have weeks during the holiday season where we're producing 5 times what we're producing at other times during the year. And so it's a real endeavor to build up for the holiday season.
Right. And this is where the training comes in, I'm sure, where every time that they're talking to somebody, this is the big deal for that person. It might be your
Absolutely.
20th customer today, but this is the first time they've called. So make it special.
I know. I have to say that it is a great, part of our business is that the folks who work in our manufacturing facility, the folks who work in our retail stores, customer service, they all, because they see individual items, it really reinforces my message, right? Like they certainly see how important it is to customers. You just see the items go by and you may not know the story behind all of this, Bulldogs swag, but my gosh, this is a fan and this means a lot to them. Or you just know that if someone cared enough to give it to us, that it mattered to them.
Right.
It also makes the day go by, right? I do think that there are a lot of jobs in production, in retail that can get monotonous, but our Framebridge jobs always, we're surprised every day by how clever or thoughtful our customers are.
Right. And the stakes are higher in your business.
Absolutely.
Now, when you're working in a locale like Atlanta, do you do anything kind of Atlanta-y to make Atlanta different than maybe your store in DC or wherever your other stores are?
We do. So we have gallery walls, so walls of framed products, not for sale, just for inspiration in our stores. And so we like to add parts from local culture. And so it's things like, a Music Midtown poster. I think there's some Coca-Cola stuff, Gladys Knight stuff. We also asked Atlanta-based customers if they would share some of their family photos with us. And so some did. And so there's some Atlanta families who are featured on our walls. We also featured some Atlanta-based artists. There's an artist I love, Dawn Trimble, who we have some of her pieces up. And so absolutely, that's we can't tell people that they should have homes that really reflect themselves and then have generic stores.
Right. Now, as part of the service, some of the brainstorming and the creativity that your folks know how to do because you've done a lot of things before, but I'm just a regular person and I might have this collection of stuff, but I don't know the best way to display it. Do you help in that regard at all? Like, could I take a bunch of pictures of a bunch of stuff and then just bring those in and say, hey, can you help me just think through? I'd like to get this, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not an artist, a designer. I just have stuff.
Yes. We do, both online and in stores. We have one, if you just have, a few pieces of memorabilia you want to frame together, of course, our team can help you with that, no problem. But if you want to design a gallery wall, we do. We have a gallery wall service where our team will help you lay out the whole thing and design the whole wall or the collection of pieces you have. Because that actually was a customer-driven insight because customers said, I really want to start with you, but I don't know where to start.
Right.
So we thought, well, gosh, we better help you. But really, it's an interesting sort of brand position because I do think our look is gorgeous and elevated, and but we really, really, really want to be unintimidating. They're really, someone said, oh, your stores are beautiful. They look like a gallery. And I said, oh, that's great. But I hope someone with a big smile on their face welcomed you, that you didn't feel, because I don't feel I can walk into every art gallery. I certainly don't feel that I would you never feel like you're knowledgeable enough or rich enough or whatever to go into that type of setting. And that is not, we really believe you should Framebridge everything. And that, that there is, just as much worth in your marathon bib, maybe, more special than art with a price tag on it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think a lot of people are kind of intimidated. They don't know that they have, or that they would elevate what they have. That's just stuff that I've had in a pile. And they can elevate it and make it art on a wall that deserves to be on a wall.
Yeah, we see that with kids' art too. Kids' art professionally framed looks amazing. That's really fun. And fun. And we've seen, I remember a customer came into one of our DC area stores, and it was really sweet. She said she had a couple kids, and they all had big sports. One was a championship game. They'd all had big, a lot of recognition from sports recently. And one of her kids didn't play sports, but was an artist. And so he had come up with the idea that he could go to Framebridge and choose a frame. And it just meant a lot to me. It was really that was their big sort of recognition moment. It was really nice.
Yeah, I know in our house, we love local art. And when we travel, we try to buy some local artist piece of art. And that's our kind of a memento of that. And when our child was young, he did this kind of a, cardboard and colors, and it was a cat. And so we framed it, like you said, in a nice frame. And it's placed amongst this other art. And people don't know that was our kid when he was, 6. It just looks like another piece of kind of folk art that's on the wall.
Well, the travel art absolutely was another sort of key part of why I started Framebridge. Because I was seeing things. I wanted to remember trips, but I knew I'd had this bad experience custom framing, and I knew how expensive it was and how intimidating. So I thought, maybe I won't buy that. So that's been really fun, and that's really validating when we see that art come in. I remember early on seeing someone who was framing a collection of scarves from the running of the bulls. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that is so cool. That's just what I sort of dreamed of, that someone would have that awesome experience, life experience, and then Framebridge it.
Yep. Good stuff. Well, congratulations on all your success. If somebody in Atlanta wants to check out the shops, where are they located?
So we have 2 shops. We have one in Buckhead at the Shops Around Lenox, and we have one in Westside Provisions. And hopefully those are convenient. If not, there's always Framebridge.com.
And then Framebridge.com, that you can just either go there and buy frames or consult with somebody, and they can help you work through whatever project you're working on.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. You're doing really important work, and we appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much. We're really proud to be in Atlanta, and I appreciate the time to share more.
And one more time, the website, because that probably has the locations as well, right?
Yes, Framebridge.com.
All right. Well, thank you, Susan, once again.
Thanks so much.
All right. This is Lee Cantor. Thank you for listening to Atlanta Business Radio. And remember, this work would not be possible without our sponsor, OnPay. Please support them so we can continue to share these important stories.
Today's episode of Atlanta Business Radio is brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com.